Going to get a bit more analysis now with France 24's Kethevane Gorjestani, who joins me on set. Kethevane, this is really an interesting time for NATO. They're trying to figure out a way to best support Ukraine despite major concerns about the United States.
Yes, there is really some concern about the future of support for Ukraine given the situation with the United States. And there are two things about the United States that are worrying NATO allies, especially the Europeans. One is that $60 billion Ukraine package that is still to this day stuck in Congress, and it's not looking like there could be a change there. Then there's the possibility, of course, of the return of Donald Trump at the end of the year with the elections in the United States, given what he has said about supporting Ukraine and what he has said about possibly encouraging Russia to attack NATO members if they don't pay up enough for NATO. So there are several options that are being discussed to give NATO a greater role in coordinating that security assistance for Ukraine to ensure that it is a long-term support and not just day-to-day. So the first option is to bring the so-called Rammstein group, which is a U.S.-led contact group that is currently coordinating, collecting, transferring all those weapons from the allied countries and others, 50 nations, to Ukraine. And they would want to bring this more under the control, the umbrella of NATO, rather than having this being a U.S.-led group. That said, the Americans not really on board with that just yet, at least. John Kirby of the National Security Council yesterday saying that 50 countries came together because of U.S. leadership, and they want to keep it that way. The other option is that fund that Jens Stoltenberg talked about, $100 billion for Ukraine over 5 years. There, again, there's some countries that are not necessarily on board, talking about possibly having dual situations for this funding. So all of this still needs to be worked out. And there is, of course, that NATO summit coming up in the summer in Washington.
And all of this is happening as it seems like Russia is actually gaining ground on the front line in Ukraine.
Absolutely. And this is an assessment from the Institute for the Study of War, which assessed that Russian forces seized about 505 square kilometers of territory since October 23rd. To give you an idea, this is 5 times the size of the city of Paris, for example. And they're saying that the rate of capturing that territory is increasing. So they're gaining more and more ground, and they're gaining it faster. Russia, of course, retaking the town of Avdiivka back in February. Now they're holding a siege around Chasiv Yar, which is a key access to the region and the city of Kramatorsk. Now, the assessment also says that this is far off what Ukraine, for example, had retaken back at the end of 2022. But there is concern that what we've talked about earlier, which is this blockade in U.S. Congress about U.S. military aid and the fact that these weapons are coming in slower and slower for the Ukrainians, that possibly Russia is going to keep making those gains and keep making them faster and faster. And that is why you're seeing a lot of the countries that are trying to help Ukraine talk about a crucial moment. Those are the words of Antony Blinken when he was here in Paris. And Dmytro Kuleba, the foreign minister of Ukraine, who is currently in Brussels, also saying that he needs more weapons. He said, "I don't want to spoil the birthday party, but my main message today will be Patriot missiles."
All right. Thanks for that, Kethevane Gorjestani.
Thanks.